Hello there, Internet. This is Lumpyland coming at you again with a third installment in my videos about VulcanVerse and Vulcan Forged. So this is kind of the beginning of the Lumpy Guide, so to speak. We're going to keep on going if people have requests for them. And because of that, I am doing a third video about what to do inside of VulcanVerse once you get inside. There have been a couple people who have actually requested, just show me what you're doing once you get inside. Once you become a Cedalion, how do you earn experience points? How do you earn lava? How do you actually forge? How do you actually do it? So today we're going to take a look inside VulcanVerse, and we're going to find out, what do you do when you get inside VulcanVerse? I mean, what's there to do? All right, my friends, here we are. We are at my plot of land, well, one of my plots of land inside of VulcanVerse. This happens to be one of my plots in Boreas, and I have, for the most part, eliminated the building that I had on it before, so we can talk about foraging, and we can talk about exactly what you need to be doing once you get inside. So let's say you were to rent this piece of land from me as a Cedalion. You would enter the verse, and you would pop up right in the center of it, and you would pop up, boom, right in the center, right next to my tree here. And you'd be looking around and you'd be saying, okay, well, now what do I do? There's a nice tall building over there and looks like there's a road over here. What's going on? The first thing you'll want to do is pull up your Vulcanite companion. Now, if you don't own any Vulcanite companions and you haven't already selected a Vulcanite companion in your MyForge app, you're going to want to go ahead and do that right now. Open up a MyForge, select your profile, select My Companion, and choose one of those amazing 8 free Vulcanites you can get. They all range about the same in terms of their abilities, but some of them are slightly better at foraging. I think the Fox is maybe the best at foraging, and some of them might be slightly better at attack power. You could read about those statistics online. For the most part, though, just go ahead and make a choice of whatever looks good to you, and once you have that, you're going to want to exit out and re-enter back into VulcanVerse. So let's say you go ahead and do that. And now we're inside of VulcanVerse. I'm going to spawn my Vulcanite, and I do that by going down here to the Vulcanite menu. You can also click V. Here is a list of the Vulcanites that I have available. I have a decent list of Vulcanites available, but right now I only have 3 available to choose from as level 1 Vulcanites. So Wolf Shadow is at the top. Wolf Shadow is already selected here, so we're going to go ahead and go with Wolf Shadow. If you can see, he's already been specced out, maxed out there with his experience points. So there's my trusty Wolf Shadow. Okay, so now what? Now we are going to ask Wolf Shadow to forage for us, because that is one of the prime ways we earn materials and experience here in VulcanVerse. So the first thing you want to do is either click on the button 2 down here or click the 2 button on the keyboard. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. It doesn't actually start him foraging. What it does is bring up these little blue crystals you can see now. Blue crystal here, blue crystal everywhere, blue crystal for everybody. All right, so what you have to do now is click on a blue crystal. That's going to start your Vulcanite from foraging. The hovering mouse makes it turn green. Click on it, and there he goes. Wolf Shadow is off for approximately 1 minute 40 seconds. He goes through a cycle of foraging. He is not always successful in his forage, but if he is successful in his forage, I will receive a pop-up notification over here. It will tell me exactly what materials that Wolf Shadow has found, and it will also give me the corresponding experience points for those materials. You can currently see that Wolf Shadow is not going beyond the boundaries of my plot line. That is because I happen to be within the boundaries of my plot line as my avatar when I selected a crystal to begin his foraging. If I'm over here, he's going to forage over here. So you can also select crystals that are outside of your line over here. As long as your avatar is inside the plot, he will search inside this plot. You can see right now that this is a red crystal when I'm hovering over it. A red crystal simply means that your Vulcanite is occupied or is otherwise unable to forage underneath that crystal. If you receive a red crystal and your Vulcanite happens to be standing next to you, you may have encountered a little bug, and the way to escape from that is to press the 3 button, or to push it here on the keyboard. Okay, you can see we popped up with some silver, some leather, and 2 experience points for my effort. I received 2 experience points because my Vulcanite successfully found a level 2 material. That happened to be the silver that he found. If it was only a level 1 material, the leather, I would have received just 1 experience point. That goes on for level 3 and level 4. There currently is no level 5 materials being found inside of VulcanVerse, but that is to change, I believe. To demonstrate the avatar inside the lines here again, I'm going to go ahead and hover over this crystal. It is now green. I'm going to click on it, and Wolf Shadow will stay within the boundary lines of my plot of land. Even if I go running over here, Wolf Shadow will continue his foraging through the cycle on my plot of land. He will then catch up to me, or if I have crossed a certain distance, he might just instantly pop up next to me. This can also be a little bit proving to be not knowing where your Vulcanite is foraging sometimes. If you happen to load your Vulcanite inside of an area that it cannot escape from physically, it doesn't really matter where you're clicking crystals, your Vulcanite is only going to be able to forage on that plot of land. So you got to make sure that if your Vulcanite is stuck, you go through the Vulcanite menu, you pop them out, and then pop them back in again. If you want to forage on the open roads out here, you can see that these crystals are all outside of the lines of plots of owners. It doesn't really make a difference. You can find materials, you can find valuable NFTs, you can find scrolls, you can find in the future lava pits or PYR pits at any conceivable crystal that you can find. It really doesn't matter the location of the crystal. What does matter for locations of the crystals is inside of certain plot lines, you can receive certain drops of materials on a more frequent basis. As you can see, Wolf Shadow just gave me 3 wood, 10 leather, and I received 1 experience point for all 13 of those materials, simply because they were a combined level 1 material. No one exceeded that material. What I'm doing now is running to a nearby plot that is near the Harpy's Nest, which is this beautiful landmark that you see off to my right. The Harpy's Nest has a well-known plot of land owned by Nils FF, and it is a diamond mine. I'm going to stop at the moment. You just saw the 10 experience points pop up on my screen, seemingly for doing nothing, but just running around. And that is another thing that you need to be doing inside of VulcanVerse. Once a day, every 24 hours, and the clock resets at midnight GMT, you shall be running through the landmarks of VulcanVerse. And as you can see on the map in the upper left-hand quadrant of the screen, I crossed into a red zone, which happened to be part of the Harpy's Nest, which is one of 16 landmarks across VulcanVerse that gives you 10 experience points per day simply by visiting them. It's called the Landmark Run, and there will be a link to a map in the comments below. I am going to continue running past the Harpy's Nest, and we are going to end up on the very famous diamond plot, which is known as 3094. Look at all these people at 3094 standing around. They are actively foraging, or maybe passively foraging. Perhaps they are cooking dinner. Perhaps they are playing a game of Berserk or Forge Arena on their other screen while they're foraging on this screen, which is exactly what I recommend you be doing to be earning those 10,000 experience points. That is the way that you really get racked up fast. As you can see, some of the more high-ranking names are here. There's Antonius Magnus, there's Placebo. Placebo is very high in the rankings, so you can see if this is a good place to be, I can understand. You can also see how there are very few Vulcanites down in the pit with these guys, whereas all the Vulcanites are outside the pit, running around the perimeter. Even though the owner of this plot of land has given us this ramp, some Vulcanites just can't get down here. So they are able to forage on the plot of land, as is my Wolf Shadow right here, as long as I click a crystal. Let's see if I can find one. Here is one in my range. I'm going to click on this crystal, and you can see Wolf Shadow will start running around the property, and he'll look for materials in this property. This is a well-known diamond plot. So diamonds are sought after because they're diamonds. They're a level 4 material. They give you 4 experience points per successful forage. We're expecting them to be highly valuable in the future. We can't really build with them yet, but we know that we're going to need them in the future. All right, so we've talked about pulling up foraging crystals. We've talked about what red and green crystals mean. We've talked about experience and pop-ups and how they correlate to the materials together. We've talked about stuck vulcanites. We've talked about avatar position when you're inside VulcanVerse and where you're foraging and where you're not foraging. We've talked about how certain plots are better than other plots for certain materials, and you can always ask inside of Discourse, or you can ask inside of the chat, inside of VulcanVerse. We've talked about how you can find a NFT from pretty much any place that has a blue crystal inside of VulcanVerse. So it really doesn't matter where you are. In fact, we've talked about the running of the landmarks for daily experience points. I like to run the landmarks and forage at the same time. So I am getting maximizing my time inside of the VulcanVerse. So just those activities alone will get you a couple. Ooh, look at this, crystals and experience points and copper, all from Wolf Shadow. Isn't that nice from Wolf Shadow? I really appreciate that. So while I'm explaining this to you, I'm going to step inside the lines and I'm going to click this crystal again, and Wolf Shadow's going to start his duties again. So you could be doing anything while you're foraging. That's kind of the beauty of foraging. So we've talked about all these things you could be doing, the experience point runs, and what I also want to mention that you could be doing with your Vulcanite is fighting. Now I'm going to see if anyone wants to fight with me. Now this is a foraging crowd, it looks like. I also don't see any Vulcanites that might be a match for my Wolf Shadow. These are all level 0 Vulcanites. Yeah, I'm not sure any of these guys are going to want to fight with me. I'm going to go ahead and click this crow and see if this guy wants to fight. You click on an opposite Vulcanite, and then you go down here to the attack button, or push the number 1 button on your keyboard, and it sends a request to the owner of the other Vulcanite for a battle. Now, that person can accept or deny your request. They can also have it set to an auto-deny feature, so don't be upset if you get no response. Now, if I owned that crow or that bird, I would not accept my battle request, because the Wolf Shadow, while only a level 1 Vulcanite, he is maxed out on his statistics, and he would destroy that bird pretty quickly. But fighting is yet another way to achieve experience points and therefore lava inside of VulcanVerse, because all of the experience routes that I just told you about are also ultimately going to be lava routes at the same time. So you really want to maximize these daily, as rumor has it there's going to be a cap on the daily lava that can be earned inside of VulcanVerse. So it's really important that you get your fair share, because you're going to be grinding hard to get up to 10,000 experience points so you can withdraw that lava. All right, so this has been Lumpyland, and this is the first installment of what you should be doing as a Cedalion when you get inside VulcanVerse. I hope it's been useful, and remember, Hades smells funny. Press 2 to forage. Carry on.